Okay, sales leaders, hiring managers and executives. You know how crucial those senior management interviews are, right?
Absolutely.
Like making the right hire for those leadership positions can seriously impact a company's success.
Couldn't agree more.
So today we're diving deep into this awesome piece from the sales experts called How to Ace Your Senior Management Role Interview.
Yeah, this one's packed with great advice.
Totally. And you know what I found really interesting?
What's that?
Goes way beyond those basic interview tips you see everywhere.
Right, like dress for success and make eye contact.
Exactly. It digs into those subtle things that really matter at the senior level.
Like what?
Well, for example, how your leadership style meshes with their existing company culture.
Yeah, that's huge. You know, it's not just about checking off boxes on a skills list anymore.
Right. It's more about understanding your role in their big picture goals.
Like, how would your leadership actually contribute to the company as a whole?
Yeah. It's about fitting into their ecosystem, not coming in with a my way or the highway attitude.
Makes sense. It reminds me of this one time when I was involved in hiring a sales director.
Oh, yeah.
And we had this candidate who looked amazing on paper, top performer, stellar references. But during the interview, it became clear that he wasn't a team player.
Oh, no.
Yeah, our company thrives on collaboration, and it just wouldn't have worked out.
So cultural fit is a two-way street.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Both sides need to feel good about it, or it's not going to be a successful long-term relationship.
For sure. And speaking of success, the sales experts also talk about how important it is to showcase your strategic thinking during these interviews.
You mean beyond just saying I'm a strategic thinker, right?
Exactly. What are some of their key points there?
Well, they say interviewers at this level are looking for concrete examples of how you've actually used strategic planning to achieve measurable results.
It's like, show me the receipts for your strategic thinking.
Exactly. And they also suggest being prepared to talk about your vision for the company's future.
So like, where do you see opportunities for growth?
Exactly. And how would you lead them towards those goals? This is where you can really stand out from the competition.
So you've nailed the company culture piece and wowed them with your strategic thinking. What's next?
Well, according to the sales experts, it's all about demonstrating those leadership and people management skills
And how do they recommend doing that?
through storytelling.
Storytelling.
I love that.
Me too. It's so many more engaging than just listing off your leadership qualities.
Right. Instead of just saying, I'm a great motivator, tell them a story about a time you rallied your team to overcome a seemingly impossible obstacle.
It makes your experience much more real and relatable.
Definitely. And it shows the interviewers what your leadership style actually looks like in action.
Exactly. You're not just telling them you can lead, you're showing them.
Okay, so we've got company culture, strategic thinking, leadership storytelling. What else is crucial for acing these interviews?
Well, even the best stories fall flat if you can't communicate them effectively.
Oh, for sure. Strong communication is key, especially at the senior management level. Absolutely. The sales experts really emphasize the importance of being able to articulate complex ideas in a clear and concise way.
Makes sense. You'll be communicating with everyone from your team to stakeholders and even the board of directors.
And they have this really cool suggestion for practicing that kind of high-level communication.
Oh, what's that?
Try explaining complex business concepts in simple terms as if you were talking to someone who knows nothing about your industry.
I like that. It forces you to break down those complicated ideas and articulate them in a way that anyone can understand.
And it's not just about being clear, it's also about being persuasive.
Right. As a senior leader, you'll need to influence others to get on board with your ideas.
Think about times when you've successfully persuaded stakeholders and be ready to share those stories.
By showing, not telling.
Exactly. And speaking of showing, the sales experts emphasize the importance of using data to back up your claims.
So like hard numbers, quantifiable achievements.
They even share an example of this one candidate who brought a whole portfolio of data visualizations to his interview.
Hello.
Yeah, he blew the interviewers away by showcasing the impact he had in his previous role.
That's awesome. It's like saying, here's the proof. I don't just talk the talk, I walk the walk.
Exactly. And it's
Hey.
super effective. Think percentage growth, revenue saved, efficiency increased.
Those are the kind of metrics that get attention.
You're not just telling your story, you're proving it.
Love it. So we've covered a lot already. Cultural fit, strategic thinking, leadership storytelling, effective communication, and the power of data.
Right.
It sounds like acing that senior management interview really comes down to being prepared and going beyond your resume.
It does. And there's still more to explore.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, the sales experts also have some great advice on handling those tricky behavioral interview questions, and that's where we'll head next.
Perfect. Stay tuned because we're about to unlock even more secrets to sales success.
All right, so let's dive into those behavioral interview questions. You know, the ones that start with, tell me about a time when.
Oh, yeah, those can be tough,
Mm,
especially when you're put on the spot.
yeah, definitely. But the sales experts have a great method for tackling them. It's called the STAR method.
STAR method. I've heard of that, but could you refresh my memory?
Sure, SAM STAR stands for situation, task, action, and result.
Ah, okay. So it's like a framework for structuring your responses.
Exactly. It helps you tell a clear, concise story that highlights your relevant skills and experiences.
So instead of rambling off a random anecdote, I'm strategically crafting my answer to really showcase my strengths.
You got it. You start by setting the scene. That's the situation. Then you describe the challenge or task you faced. That's the task. Next, you outline the specific actions you took, the action part. And finally, you wrap it up by emphasizing the positive outcomes you achieved, the result.
So it's all about being structured and focused, which can be tough for me in the heat of the moment.
I get it. We all have those moments. But using the STAR method can help you stay on track and deliver a compelling message.
The Sales experts also mentioned that it's important to tailor your STAR stories to the specific role and company.
Absolutely. It's not just about reciting a rehearsed script. You need to connect your experiences to what the interviewer is looking for.
Right, so it's about being relevant
Yeah,
and showing that you've really thought about this particular position.
exactly. With each question, think about what the interviewer is trying to assess. What skills are they looking for? What challenges might you face in this role?
And then I would use my STAR stories to illustrate how I've handled similar situations in the past.
You got it. So, for example, if they ask you about a time you failed, it's not just about describing what went wrong, it's about what you learned from that experience and how you applied those lessons to future successes.
Ah, so it's about showing growth and self-awareness?
Exactly. Those are qualities that any hiring manager would value in a senior leader.
Makes sense. So we've covered the STAR method for behavioral questions, but the sales experts also talk about the importance of asking insightful questions yourself during the interview.
Oh, yeah, for sure. An interview is a two-way street. It's not just about them getting to know you.
Right? It's also about me getting a feel for the company and the role to see if it's a good fit.
Asking thoughtful questions shows that you're engaged and genuinely interested.
And it also shows that I've done my homework.
Exactly. And the sales experts suggest going beyond those generic questions like, can you tell me more about the company culture?
So what kind of questions should I be asking?
They recommend asking questions that demonstrate you've been paying attention throughout the conversation.
Okay, so for example, if they mention a specific challenge the company is facing, I could ask a follow-up question about their approach to solving it.
That's a great example. Or if they talk about an exciting new initiative, you could ask about the timeline for implementation or how this particular role would contribute to its success.
It's about showing that I'm already thinking about how I can make a real impact.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask some tougher questions, too. You know, like about the company's biggest competitors or how they're adapting to changes in the market.
Those are good ones. Asking those kinds of questions shows that I'm not afraid to tackle difficult topics and that I'm thinking strategically.
It's about being curious and demonstrating that you're genuinely invested in the company's future.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground, from cultural fit and strategic thinking to storytelling data and now asking insightful questions. What else do the sales experts recommend for acing that senior management interview?
Well, they actually highlight the importance of a thoughtful follow-up after the interview.
Oh yeah, the thank you note. It's classic advice, but it's so easy to just dash off a generic email.
Exactly. But the sales experts say a well-crafted thank you can really set you apart.
So what do they suggest?
They recommend personalizing it, go beyond just saying thank you for your time.
So like how?
Well, maybe mention something specific that you discussed during the interview.
Like I was really impressed with your company's commitment to work-life balance.
Exactly. It shows that you were paying attention and that you genuinely connected with what they had to say.
And I could also use the thank you note to reiterate my enthusiasm for the role.
For sure. It's a chance to remind them why you're the perfect fit and leave a lasting positive impression.
It's all about tying everything together: company culture, strategic thinking, leadership skills, and showing them that I'm genuinely excited about this opportunity.
Absolutely. So to wrap things up, I think it's safe to say that acing that senior management interview is all about preparation.
It's about showcasing your expertise and your personality.
And, of course, following up strategically.
This deep dive into how to ace your senior management role interview from the sales experts has been so insightful.
I agree. They really provide a roadmap for success.
I feel like I have a much better understanding of what it takes to stand out in those high-level interviews.
Me too. And I hope our listeners are feeling inspired and empowered to go after those leadership roles.
Before we sign off, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought to ponder.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Think about a time when you had to make a really tough decision that impacted your team.
Hmm.
Maybe it was a change in strategy or a difficult conversation with a client. How would you frame that story in an interview to showcase your leadership and problem-solving skills?
That's a great question. It really challenges us to reflect on our experiences and think about how we can use them to demonstrate our value.
And it reminds us that even those tough moments can become powerful stories.
Exactly. They can highlight our resilience, our ability to learn and grow, and our commitment to leading our teams through challenges.
Awesome. So listeners, take some time to think about that question and how your story can help you land that dream leadership role.
And don't forget to check out the Sales Experts for more great advice on achieving sales success.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.
Until then, best of luck with those interviews.